So, hello and welcome to the pascom and Snom Upgrading Business Communications webinar. My name is James Barton. I am the pascom Channel Sales and Marketing Manager. And with me today, I have a special guest from Snom.
Hi there, I'm Neil Laxman. I'm the pre-sales consultant for the UK and Nordics markets.
Cool. And what we're going to do today is quickly run through a few bits and pieces about what our combined offering can offer you as an end customer, or for example, if you're a reseller, what can offer, or how you can upgrade your customers' business communications. And we're going to start off with a quick presentation from Neil regarding what Snom brings to the table, and I'll jump in bits and pieces as we go along as to what we have to offer. So let's get started. First things first.
Let's talk a little bit about the history of Snom and pascom, because I think it's a very valid point. We are both, companies that have been working in the industry for quite a long time. Yep. We're both 20 years old, which is quite a feat, I think, in this day and age of technology businesses with startups and the established companies not always surviving. We've been working together for 12 years, and I think that's a big key point, really. 12 years. Where Snom, pascom have been doing interop testing, working side by side to make sure that things work absolutely perfectly on the pascom system with Snom devices.
Yeah. I believe we were quite possibly your first interoperability partner, and we were also in the other direction.
Yeah, so I think there's a massive history with the two companies. Yeah. Where we can see the trust between Snom and pascom is entirely there. And the relationship has stayed so strong throughout the whole relationship that I'm really proud to be part of that as we move forwards. And obviously why we're here today talking to you guys.
Exactly. Yeah, and just to give you an idea of how far or how deep we've gone with the relationship, we've got roughly around about 2,000 endpoints that we put out every year from Snom in our direct sales. In indirect, it's very difficult to say. Our resellers don't always buy directly from us, so it's kind of a challenge for us to know exactly. But in excess of about 20,000 endpoints are out in production at the moment.
Quite a lot then.
There's quite a few, yeah.
And it's not only just on the pure sales side of things that we work together. We do a lot of events together, so things like CeBIT. Very recently we had the recent 2018 CeBIT, and we were together for that one. Yep. IP Expo we've done.
Yeah, that's where we first met in London last year.
It is indeed.
Yep.
And there's so many other events and activities that we do jointly, which I think really solidifies our partnership.
Yeah. And one of the other things that is perhaps not so relevant for UK market right now, but it could well be in the very near future, within the German market, both companies obviously based in Germany, we are one of the trailblazers for Snom as a service, so the subscription-based leasing model that you offer.
And to be fair, James says maybe not so relevant for the UK market. I'd object a little bit. Snom as a service is something that is available for the UK market. pascom are the only supplier of Snom as a service currently in the UK.
That's true. Yes.
There's a massive sign of trust from Snom to pascom for that. But also, I think if device as a service is something that's really important to your business and to your customers, then have a chat with James because it's something that we can do bundled in from the very outset.
Yeah, and one of the benefits is if you really want to go down the as a service route, you combine it with our cloud solution and you have a complete as a service, unified communications as a service platform from one hand.
Yeah, to be fair, it's OpEx done right.
Pretty much, yeah. So it's a decent benefit on that front, and as Neil mentioned, we are the only vendor that currently offering it in the UK market. So yeah, if you've got any interest, let us know. Good. Moving on. Next thing, this is your one.
To be fair, I think we've already discussed bits of this. I decided maybe earlier that James and pascom are the cone. They're the core foundation. Yep. And Snom are the beautiful ice cream topping.
Yeah, with a rock solid, crunchy part.
Yeah, and with a tasty consumable part, maybe.
Yeah, to a certain degree, it sort of matches.
It works out. It works out.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, maybe there's a few people out there who like to eat the cone on its own. Maybe there's a few people out there who prefer their ice cream without a cone. But I think most of us can agree that the ice cream and the cone is probably better overall. And it's the same for Snom and pascom, is that, you know, when we are working together, due to our history and due to the work that we do together, I think we come through with a really compelling solution.
Yeah. And you only have to look at some of our case studies that we have for joint deployments that we've put out together. There are very compelling arguments for choosing a Snom and pascom combined solution, going all the way through from the end user functionality all the way into what the admin has to do. And then, of course, on top of that is the resellers, the benefits they get from both our companies.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to cover all that. So, right. But first things first, this is a new, well, relatively new phone.
It is, the D785. It has been on the market now for, I'll say 6 months, but you know, it's not actually that long. But I like to round up a little bit rather than go with the granular amount of months. So about 6 months, and it's been received really well by you know, by the industry, by the press, by the reviews, but also by guys like yourselves, resellers, and by customers. So we're going to do a quick kind of review, quick cover over of actually what the D785 is, because I do, you know, I get not everyone is going to have seen it, played with one, or know that much about it, and I quite like it because it's a really fun device. You can see it here. The white balance is a little bit off. If I put my hand out there, then you can see the screen a bit better. I'm going to take my hand away because I don't really want to hold my hand there for the rest of the rest of the review. But what I will do is just point out maybe some of the features that we have here. Probably the most prominent feature is just up here at the top. It's a nice big colour screen, okay, and you know, Snom have got other colour screens in the portfolio. It's not the first time we've done this, but it is the biggest colour screen that we've ever done, and that's a really nice thing because it's a really big, clear colour screen, which is, you know, amazing to look at. And actually, when you start to customise it, especially with pascom, and getting imagery and settings behind that, then the colours are they pop out at you so much because the definition on the screen is great. Around the screen, if James pops back to the picture of the phone, it's not really a picture, it's a video, we can see that we've got some new design language coming in just around the screen there. A beautiful black bezel, which just helps accentuate the colours of the screen. But beneath that, and I think this is a very important piece, is actually some of the new design language that's coming through from Snom. If we look at the button here, it's metallic. It's a change from the grey, silvery plastic buttons that we had previously to a more metallic, high quality feel touch button, which actually makes some really nice, satisfying clicks as you push it. So I really like that. I'm going to start seeing that on more and more devices as they get released or refreshed. The second most prominent piece and change to the device is most likely going to be this piece down here. So let's see if we can get the white balance to change a little bit. Nope. No. Okay, there we go.
No, now you can see it now.
You can see perfectly, as planned, the second screen here. Now, pascom have already done some integrations into this. Actually, this second option here is already pascom branded up. You know, they've out of the box, they've already got default functions going on there. But the great thing about this second screen is anyone who's familiar with our D745 or D345 is that you know, it's a configurable second screen. You can start to just get rid of all those lines and lines and lines of BLF keys and buttons, and actually consolidate it into a more dynamic and agile approach. So we've got multiple pages on here which we can program up. I think it's actually when the backlight goes away, then we can see it again. But we're also pushing in some new or rethought about features and functionality. Intelligence, yes, a good word. So, for example, we all know that conferencing is a default function on pretty much, yeah. Yeah, pretty much any platform. But what we do on the 785 and potentially other devices is actually change how we do that. So we're still obviously using the core platform, we're still using conferencing there, but we're being more clever about creating the conference by letting the device manage it by saying, you know what, let's push conference, put in number 1, put in number 2, and then create that conference, as opposed to phone one person, phone another person, jam it together.
The behavior and the number of buttons that you have to press is considerably shorter.
Yeah,
and
definitely
the
so.
time taken to start a three-way conference is much easier.
And I think, were you going to show this in your demo?
I'll give it my best shot to show it. Obviously, it's a bit difficult with the light balance and everything, but we'll give it a go and see what happens.
Good man.
Yeah.
So conferencing, like I said, just another way, just another slight change on how the device handles it, but I think a massive change for the better. We've got some other ones here, transfer and silent mode, two of the other new functions. There are some more, but I'll cover the ones that are on here. Transfer is really something we call smart transfer, where if there's a number, a mobile, my own mobile, for example, that I just want to just forward a call onto, or a number that I just want to always or quite often forward a call onto, I can push transfer, program that number in, and then any call that comes in or any call that's waiting to be answered, I can either deflect it or answer it and transfer it just with a one click.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a useful function. We use it, we've got a couple of 785s in the office. We use it here directly anyway. For example, when I'm in a call and I don't have time to speak to somebody, I'm on a call on my mobile, for example, here, and I can see that there's an incoming call on the queue. I just press that and it goes off to the next person. Of course, we could do that in more spectacular ways with skills-based routing and so on.
Yep.
But
I think the key thing is that not everyone's going to be sitting in a skills-based routing environment.
No, this is true. So having such a functionality out of the box on the desktop phone for the end user is brilliant.
And just being able to ad hoc do it and be user configurable, I think is key. Obviously, the more advanced scenarios, call handling teams, definitely you want to use skills-based routing that's in the pascom platform, because you're just adding that much more intelligence and knowledge into the platform to be able to handle it as opposed to leaving it to users. And we all know that users can't always be trusted. So.
Anyway, there is more on the 785, a lot more.
There is, yes.
Which is why we sort of did an unboxing.
We did an unboxing, we've recorded it, it's going to be up on the YouTube imminently.
Yeah, as soon as I get around to doing it, it'll be up there, so sometime in the next week it'll be up there. Probably the webinar will come first, but if you have any questions about it, or the 785 that are pressing today, then just put them in the questions box, let us know, and Neil will do his best to answer those questions at the end of the session.
I'll aim to overachieve on the answers.
And likewise, as any questions coming for the rest of the presentation, the same behaviour. Good, so thanks very much for that, Neil. Moving on, pascom and Snom Interoperability Partners.
We mentioned this earlier, didn't we? We 12 years Interop Partners.
Give or take, yes.
Working, actually it's probably nearly another year now, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think when we first originally planned this series of webinars and stuff and joint events that we did, we were both 20 last year, so we're now 21. We've hit that ripe old age.
The problem is that 13 is an unlucky number for some. So let's stick with 12 until it hits 14, and we can do the 2-year jump. But 12, 13 years is a long time, but it is great because it does mean that the entire Snom range is pretty much A-OK on pascom. Yep. You'll notice on this slide I've put some little stars at the bottom.
I will talk about them because, for example, we've got the M300, the single cell solution that you have. That's not supported directly out of the box with auto provisioning. So you have to add it per hand. The reason for that is we don't get much demand for it. Most of our customers go for the M700 multi-cell. So
to be fair, a valid choice.
Yeah, exactly.
So much more flexibility.
So from our point of view, why put resources in for development and everything? And of course, if the demand changes, then we'll dedicate those resources and bring it in. And the same is true with the C520 conferencing systems, the newer conferencing systems that have come out.
I think most deployments, because they're such a small demand, the pascom guys, we completely understand that. And to be fair, I think we see most people are quite happy to configure out maybe 2 or 3 devices per customer, let everything else be auto-provisioned.
And that's it, you've hit the nail on the head. For most customers, this is a one-off deployment. You don't have to put, 20, 30, 40 to 100 of desktop telephones on. It's just a one device in one room, or maybe 2.
I'll tell you what, if you have a deployment for 100 odd conference devices, let James know and he'll get the auto provisioning working for you.
Yeah, pretty much. So just give me a shout. Good. Right. And we've got some information here. This is, industry statistics and so on about how reliable Snom are.
Yeah, I think Snom have a very good reputation in the industry. I think that's
that's fair to say.
Very fair point to say. I think you'll be hard pressed to find someone who doesn't or hasn't heard about about how reliable Snoms generally are. I think we can be very proud of that because we can back it up by facts. You can see here I pulled out some figures. These were the latest figures when I created the slide. But an RMA rate of under 0.05%. That's pretty darn low. I think. Yes, we ship a lot of devices, but even that number is minuscule amounts of returns. Alongside the RMA rate, we do mean time between failure tests, so MTBF. I've pulled out the figures here for the D765 and D315. So one which is higher end, 765 with a big colour screen, the sort of thing that we'd potentially expect to see fail quicker because it's more complex. But that's in our tests lasts for 333,873 hours, which is a wonderful number because it's so relatable. I have made it into a normal number, which is the real number is over 38 years. It's 38 point something years, but let's stick with 38. And to be fair, that's a long time.
Yeah, it's older than me.
It's older than me as well. So
yeah, that's a long time.
If I buy a D765 now, then yeah, that's going to be around when I'm looking to retire. So
yeah.
Lucky me. You know what? Conversely, maybe a D315, so something on the lower end of the range. 731,012 hours. I'm not quite sure whether they get the 12 or whatever piece, but 731,012 hours, so 78 years. So once again, quite a long time. Yeah, I mean, I'll be way past retirement by that point. I hope, I do hope that Snom devices would last that long, but I would also hope that at the same time, either as a customer, you have taken the choice to do an upgrade at some point in that time frame to take advantage of newer features, or as a reseller that you are trying to upgrade your customers to make sure they have the best experience. To be fair,
and this is another advantage. I'm going to getting on it now with Snom as a service. Because you have a minimum term contract, and then after a certain period of time, you can offer the customers the choice to upgrade.
Yeah.
And they get the newest features, the newest security protocols, all this kind of stuff. And as a service model, on that aspect brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, we all do that anyway. To be fair, with our mobile phones, with cars, even in a way with houses, with mortgages and.
Yeah, to a certain degree, I suppose. Yes.
But I think cars and mobile phones are probably the two largest things that have very similar, style of purchase or rental. And if I had my 4-year-old iPhone now, I'd be pretty annoyed if I still had that. Not that we're saying you should replace the device maybe that often, but it just gives your users, I think, the peace of mind that they're always going to be having the newest, the best. And if not, there'll be a refresh pretty soon around the corner.
Yeah, and just to back up Neil with the figures here and so on, we have customers on larger deployments, 2,000 seats and so on, that use Snom devices. And if you want to get any reference, just to back up, verify what Neil has been saying, what I've been saying, get in touch with me. No problem. I'll put you in touch with our references. Some of them are even on our website. You can go have a look at them, and they are. Within the industry, the standard for reliability.
Yeah, pretty much, I'd say so.
Good. So, next thing, this is a bit for you and for me.
Yeah, we can do a bit of talking over each other. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll talk about sort of how easy it is to deploy a solution. You kick it off.
I can kick it off. Yeah. So. Pascom's great because it's got the deployment built in, so
yeah. That's true.
There we go. Yep. Job done. You can leave it all to Pascom. There's no issue there. But the nice part around that is it uses a standard Snom deployment procedures anyway, just integrated into the platform, which means that you're not losing out on the security or the functionality of that deployment piece. Some of the key points around the method in which Snom do provisioning of devices, things like pre-installed certificates, so they're secure out the factory, is a key point on that, because that's never going to be going away, but we can give people like Pascal the opportunity to utilise that in their deployment structure. We put on here, you can see what happens. We send the client certificate, Pascal says that's fine, here's the phone configuration, do this thing and all that piece. That is pretty much the standard of how it works.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. And we take it a little bit step further when it comes to, for example, our cloud solutions with encrypted provisioning URLs and things like that. Because
I think security is always, especially with the cloud solutions, you've got to have peace of mind that the security is there.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you're integrating remote offices or home office environments, you need to have that in place. So we offer that with our cloud solution out of the box, and it will be from pascom 18.
Yeah.
Anyway, the case, regardless of whether it's on-premise, virtualized, in the cloud, all our solutions will be used with secure provisioning URLs. So
I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, me
That's
too.
cool.
I can't wait. Yeah. So yeah, customizations.
Customization. I think this is a very key point because when we see customers put a desk phone down on a desk, they very often just leave it as out of the box, which isn't a bad thing, because we do our best to make it user friendly and as easy to use and as useful as it can be straight away. But I think some of the value that you can add just by doing small pieces of customization through, whether it's just branding, right? You can do colors, icons. I put it up on the screen there, background images. You can make really pretty looking devices on the desk. Every Christmas at Snom, we always get a new Christmas picture on the background of the phone.
Yep.
That's just a bit of a tradition. But the customer can choose a picture. You could choose it as a reseller to say, I want to try and tie the customer into me. Pascom do a lot of this default as well.
Yeah, we're starting to. We haven't done it in the past, but we're starting to do it in that we will, for example, have the customizations with the imagery on the screen. That, from our point of view, when the desk gets rolled out onto an end user's desk, they're not always using our desktop client.
Yeah.
Or they're not always using our mobile applications. So they may not know what the phone system is. But if they see the Pascom logo there, and then one of their friends asks them down the pub, what phone system do you use at work? Because ours is,
Yeah, I think it ties the communications together
exactly.
at the end of the day. Whether they're using the desktop client, the mobile client, the desk phone, it's that consistent user experience that we want to try and promote.
Yeah.
And for yourselves as customers or as resellers, you want the users to have that consistent experience, because it means that at the end of the day, it's easier for you to support them and easier for you to promote your services to them as well. As a customer, if there's any customers watching, the great thing is that it means that your users have a defined set of instructions. The look and feel will be very similar across the products, but also that that as changes happen, it's going to reflect it properly in how you want it to look, as opposed to maybe how we at Snom say, let's put the new feature in, we'll put it in the menu there. Maybe you want that front and forward, right at the front of the users' faces, and that's possible for you guys to do.
Yeah, and even as a reseller, you could take our standard configurations for Snoms and adapt them a little bit so that you can have your logos in there, so that the customer knows that it's the device from you or whatever.
That is super easy to do as well.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So from that point of view, this is a real strong messaging branding tool you can put out there. And it ties in nicely with the next point of easy customizations. We have our configurations file that you can then edit exactly towards your needs or the customer's needs. So from BLF key mapping to if the telephone book should be the phone telephone book or the LDAP directory or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
We can customize that all per device or per device family, and then roll it out all at once. So every device that's deployed gets the same settings, the same BLF configuration.
And I think you picked up on a key point there. The top end management of that configuration.
Yeah.
You only have to do it once. You can replicate it across devices,
Exactly.
And you can manage it remotely from the Pascom solution.
And for a system administrator, that's brilliant, because an end user, he's got his defined BLF keys, There are scenarios where he wants to have different BLF keys. And then he has to call you. But as standard, you don't want end users always calling you or giving end users access to the phone admin UI to be able to configure them themselves. So do it once, roll it out, and then as and when, for example, a new employee joins, just change the basis configuration for the whole family, roll it out again.
Yep.
Done. Simple.
Wonderful.
Good. Best-in-class audio quality.
Yeah, so this is one of my slides. Obviously at Snom, we've got the reliability, we've got a reputation around that. I think we take pride as well in the amount of audio quality testing that we do. We've got an amazing lab down in Berlin where some of my colleagues spend hours and hours and hours making the finest adjustments, the smallest adjustments, just to get a slightly better audio quality. So it's a massive key point for us to make sure that we are consistently at the top of that chart. And if we have a look at the chart, you can see that we've compared ourselves against some of our competitors, and we've tried, at the end of the day, to keep it as similar as possible in the competition here. But we've taken a Snom D715, so one of the entry-level devices, which is pretty much exceeding most of the competition there. The Polycom device is actually a higher-end device anyway, which is why we just wanted to match it against that to say, look, we are matching the higher end devices for the audio quality testing. Now we have got figures for other devices as well, but I think it's most powerful with the D715 because it's an entry level device. So even with our lower end, we're always going to put the effort in to make sure it is the best device on the market in terms of audio quality as well as build quality and reliability.
Mm-hmm. And on that note of audio quality, it was something, we had a team meeting earlier today, and we're using the beta version of the upcoming pascom 18, which has got Opus codecs in. And the audio quality from Opus is outstanding, I've got to say. So that's from our point of view, that's what we bring to the table for audio quality. If you're using soft phones and so on, but it also can then go onto the conferencing phone and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, anyway, moving on that front. Security, we do a lot of security stuff.
I think security is it's the constant buzzword in the industry, isn't it?
Particularly here in Germany.
In the UK as well. I think you'd be hard pushed to find a region of the world where security is not the constant buzzword being talked about.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, Germany obviously has very stringent security. The UK is always on it as well. I think with both Snom and pascom, we both take it very seriously. We put on this one, secure the PBX, secure the endpoint. So we're looking at the two areas. The PBX being the core. We don't want any issues of people hacking into that or snooping or whatever. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we also want to make sure the endpoint is secure as well. And we do that through a mixture of authentication methods. We do encryption on the signaling. Strong passwords. I know I'm listing these off a little bit, but it sometimes happens like that when you just look at the slide. But I think that we can go very deeply into security. This isn't particularly the forum to do that. I think if you do have questions on it, please leave a message in the chat, or I think, like I said, not maybe the right forum right now. And we can maybe take that as a side conversation. Exactly,
yeah. Because what we do from the PBX side, with everything TLS, session border controller, and all that kind of stuff, that's a conversation that could take 20, 30, 40 minutes of just not technical.
Yeah.
So before we even get into technicalities, let's leave it aside and get in contact with us afterwards, I think.
Yeah. I think the main point on this slide and why it's important for us to mention it is, I think we wanted to say that obviously it's very important to us and we do work on it and make sure that we are as strong as possible on that. But yeah, I think the onus is if you have specific queries on it, come to us.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll have it done.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, good. The product range, we've sort of touched on it a little bit already. Yeah.
Why don't I cover the Snom piece first? Because start at the desktop, work our way down to the core.
That could work, yeah, if you start with the ice cream, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, so we're going to start off with some beautiful strawberry ice cream. I like strawberry. We have desk phones. I think Snom is probably best known for its desk phones, with two ranges of the D7s and the D3s, so just different formats, really. Right. to allow you guys to give your users have the choice of actually how do I like the phone to look on my desk. Alongside that, we also have white models. So, for example, the D785, we've got a white version of that. So your user can say, yep, I want to have the D785, I want it in white, I want a D715, I want it in white, and they can have that. So it's all about choice, and at the end of the day, the functionality is there, and they're all completely compatible with pascom, so absolutely no issues.
It's great because just having that flexibility in the colour of the housing of the phone.
Yeah.
You could put it into, for example, say a dentist surgery or a doctor's practice.
Yeah.
They're normally clean and light and whatever. Put a dark phone in there, it sticks out like a sore thumb.
It does. I mean, I spoke with a lot of hospitals and healthcare customers, and actually white phones. I know it sounds a bit silly, but white phones is actually a massive thing for them. They say, "Oh, we like that because it allows the people who come to our institutions, if they see a white phone and it's still white, they know that they're in a clean environment."
It's clean,
yeah.
Yep.
At the same time, I also speak to a lot of design related people, and they say, "Oh, I like the white phone." And actually, conversely, I speak to a lot of resellers who say, "I can do a lot with a white phone because I can spray it more easily a different colour." So I think it opens up a lot of doors, and leads to some interesting conversations, which is key. Yeah. Key to getting a bit further. Alongside the desk phones, we have what we call workplace mobility. Workplace mobility is probably better termed with the 4 letters DECT, DECT mobility solutions. So DECT is a standard. It's a European standard, which is about mobile devices. So not using Wi-Fi, but using its own bespoke frequency to make sure that you've got quality of service enabled wireless business comms, which you don't get with standard Wi-Fi. So we do a full range of DECT mobility solutions, whether it's on a single cell, we've got one base station with up to 20 devices on, or whether it's on a multi-cell solution, so you could go up to 1,000 handsets and 250 base stations. So things like logistics centres, hospitals, great kind of use cases in that area for the multi-cell. Yeah. Conferencing is the next one. So conferencing, we've actually come out with a new conferencing device fairly recently, the C520, which James mentioned earlier because it's not on the auto provisioning.
It's not automatically provisioned. No.
Like I think like we both said, you'll do 1 or 2, for a very large one, maybe up to 10, but 10 manual provisions. It's not too bad, to be fair. No. But yeah, the C520 is great because it's got Bluetooth built in, so you could actually link your mobile to it. It's got I said Bluetooth, didn't I? It's got wireless microphones as well, so you can take them up.
What's the range on the microphones?
They're DECT connected,
okay.
So about 50 meters.
So further than that, you'd be able to hear the speaker.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But the nice thing to that is actually that we do also DECT connected expansion units, the C52. So actually in a large room or multi-room where you're all on the same conference, you just want to link it all together, you can just put the expansion units down and everyone's on the same conference, maybe in different locations, but all being powered by the same conference unit. Yep. So pretty fun stuff on the conferencing side. I like the wireless speakers because it means that the wireless mics even because you can throw them at each other. And if the conference is not going quite right, you can make a statement with it. Yeah. But don't worry, they are pretty robust. They don't break that easily, so don't worry about that. Conferencing is great, but if we look at the other kind of side of the spectrum, so very personal devices, we do things like headsets that go on the desk phones. So they're connected by USB, so nice and easy connection just to the side of the Snom device. They're compatible with all of our devices. They work amazingly well on pascom as well, so no issues there. But we've also come out with wireless headsets as well now, and we've got we've got one out now, the A170, and we've got another one coming. So quite interesting on that front. So for you guys as resellers or as customers, having that end-to-end, Snom ownership on the desktop and Pascom doing the software gives it a nice peace of mind for you to be able to say, okay, right, there's only one manufacturer to chase, and one software supplier to chase should we need to. So it just comes back to working as a team again and our relationship in that.
Yeah, and quite often you sort of touched on it, there's only one hardware vendor and one software vendor to chase up if needs be. Quite often the case is, there could be a slight issue. It's a very small issue. There's a slight bug somewhere, either whether it be in our software or on the software in the phone. And we work together to find it out.
Yes,
we do. That's the great thing, is you don't get that in many vendor relationships.
Yeah, I mean, I think we do have quite often vendor meetings and interop meetings. So yeah, very close partnership, and any issues we try and stamp on it and get rid of it as quickly as we can. I'm going to go on to the last point of mine, which is beautifully named network peripherals.
Well, what are they?
They are one thing. We have one device called a PA1.
Yep.
PA1 is all around uplifting existing and legacy audio type solutions into the IP environment. So it's a little broadcast unit basically, cheap and cheerful, but it just means that as customers don't have to rip and replace their probably expensive audio solutions. Can just put in a few PA1s and have them connected to the phone system, have them connected to the IP network. You can control them much more easily. You can send announcements through them and just manage it very nicely.
Yeah, they're quite a nifty little tool actually. We've got some in deployment in some of our larger factory areas and so on. So yeah, I mean, they're quite nifty little things. Moving on to what we offer. Most people will know, PBX vendors, it will be hardware, and modern software-based solutions will be virtualized. We are bringing out a new appliance, which will be available, I found out earlier this morning, from around about middle of August. So for those of you who joined us for the Pascom 18 reseller briefing who are online, and we said it will be Pascom 18, it's coming out in the middle of August. So yeah, that's good news for you. And even better news, backwards compatibility from 18, 17 and 15. So there we go. That's a nice touch on that one.
Very good.
Yeah. In terms of the other parts of the solutions, virtualized appliances. So if you've got customers or you are a customer with a virtual infrastructure, you're using VMware, Hyper-V, whatever the case may be, we support a large selection of virtualized infrastructures, and you can just take our ISO file and install it and load it up in there. So that's a very simple one. And then, of course, we are 100% cloud ready, particularly with Pascom 18. Everything we're doing there, session border control in every phone system and so on, makes us available in every type of infrastructure, no problem. So yeah, we're looking forward to that one. Obviously, if you're looking for a cloud solution, we can host in our cloud stack now. With Pascom 18, you could host it yourself with, for example, Amazon.
Yeah, I quite like your hosted one. I say quite like, that's a bit rude, wasn't it? But no, I do, because you've got, going back to the security piece actually, your security on your cloud platform is pretty intense, isn't it?
Yeah, well it has to be. One of the things that we did with Pascom 17, we brought out the new mobile apps, but we didn't allow it for the on-premises because, I mean, you want to put a mobile slip stack into the internet and it's just inviting trouble. So we waited for 18, and when everything's cloud, it's all good. So yeah, security
Happiness.
Everywhere. Good. Moving on, your partner program.
Yes, so we have a partner program. It's not the first time that we've said that. It's not the first time this year we've said that. So we launched it in around March. So it's still fairly new. It's very exciting for us because it means it's a way for us to re-engage with potentially partners that we've lost touch with, but also be able to reward partners and give you a place to go to have a snoop around, get in contact with us, and hopefully feel a bit more loved again. Not that we don't love you now, but yeah, for those guys who have already signed up, you'll know all about this. For those of you who haven't, I will do a quick run through on our website over here with a squeaky keyboard. So, Partner.snom.com. That is the only web address you'll ever need to know forever.
Not
apart
quite.
from the
Pascom
one. But yeah, partner.snom.com is all you need to log into the partner portal. Obviously, to log in, you need to first register. It's pretty easy. You can see email address, passwords. Who are you? Oh, let's not go too far. Who are you, as in a company? Tax ID, this will become evident in a moment as I log in and show you a couple of bits. What your website is, all these kind of basic pieces of information that we probably already have but it's good to maybe cleanse our database and just make sure that we do have some of the right information there. We've got a company address, and you can option to add a different shipping address. Terms and conditions, privacy policy, easy peasy. Takes 2 minutes. I'd probably do it now just to make it make it done. Now if I do log in with my super secret password, let's not save it, we'll be taken to our partner page. Now I will just go to the start page. So we can see here our CEO of Snom, Gernot. He's got a nice big smile on his face as he is delighted to welcome everyone to the partner portal. It's a very interesting time for us with the partner portal, because we've got a few different options in here. So whether it's claiming a free phone, you can see here's my address, here's the details. I can choose a free phone. We've got options, 3 different ones, a D315, D715, or an M215. So single cell decked, or 2 different types of desk phone. And that's just for signing up, so you don't need to do anything else. Even if you just want to sign up for the free phone, please do, because we'd love to still have a chat with you anyway and get that free phone out to you. You'll see here on my right-hand side, we've got partner level. I've given myself silver because I like silver better than gold. The partner levels are very important. It starts off with registered, you got silver and you got gold. And that is effectively a way for us to just differentiate between partners who are committed to growth and certain targets, and partners who want to be part of the program, who want to be able to call on us for support and for price support as well for customers, but maybe don't have the same revenues. But the partners who are silver or gold can start to do things like add submissions of what they've bought, and they get a rebate back for at the end of every month, giving them a bit of money in the pocket. So that's pretty exciting. Like I said, we've done claiming free phone, and we've talked about submissions. There's not that much more here at the moment. Because it's fairly new for us as well as for you, we are going to be adding some more in there. It's going to be around marketing materials. It's going to be around online exams, so you can get certified, you can be self-certified. You can put all these nice, whether you're a registered Snom reseller, whether you're self-certified, whether you're Snom certified engineer trained, you'll be able to get all your details on there, do the exams, do any tests, do any organisation you need to, promote yourselves using the information in the marketing piece that will be coming soon.
Cool. Good. Right. Now, we've taken up quite a lot of your time already, so I'm going to kick on with my side of what we have to do. And yeah, so we're going to start off with a bit of a demonstration on pascom, unified communications, collaboration, contact center tools, and all that kind of stuff. What we can offer you, what our software brings to the table, regardless of whether you're an end customer or a reseller looking to add value to your end customer solutions. So, first off, we're available everywhere, in the cloud or on-premise. Yeah. Now that's really important to understand. Even as a reseller, you can resell our hosted solution. Yeah, so it's one of the main benefits of being a pascom partner. But now we're going to take a look at the actual software now, and it means I have to go into here. And this is my desktop application, which we have for Windows, Mac, and Linux. Now, of course, the mainstream customer is going to have Windows in place. So, obviously having a Windows is essential. But then there's some design houses have Mac. And then there's a lot of data centers or whatever it may be that they love open source. so they want to have Linux. And we cover all three. We're one of the only vendors that does actually cover all three. So if you've got a customer that has, for whatever purpose, needs a Linux solution, we're your guys. What we have in here is what you'd expect from unified communications. We're looking at presence, we're looking at chat, and so on and so on. But we take it a little bit further. We also offer, for example, some contact center functionality. We're particularly strong on the inbound side. We have the ability to add call labels, whether it be taken from the IVR as the caller comes in, or whether we match the number with the CRM system or ERP system, have the call label added there or stored there. We then display it to the agent. Sadly, in my little demo setup, I don't have any, but I'll show you what we have in the phone book, for example. Here, I can create a new phone book entry and I can add labels. I've got two set up. I've got English and I've got Snom. So any caller who's coming in that is looking for the English language and wants to have product knowledge of Snom will be directed to Neil.
Yay.
Yeah, exactly. And I could add a third label, for example, if I just quickly go into here and log into here. Under ACD, which is automatic call distribution, I could add call labels, and I could add it here, skill, and then I could call it pascom. Who's got that skill? I do, and I've got it to top knowledge, 100. And I save that, and I apply it, and I go back to my desktop app, and once it's applied, it shouldn't take too long. I can then add another one. No, not quite yet. Yeah, never goes. There we go. Now it's there. So I have that third skill. Now, of course, we can use this for more, not just presenting information to the agent about the caller. We can also use it for call routing. We have call routers built into our automatic call distribution. So you can build in, for example, a router for the languages and then move that onto a different router for products and whatever and whatever and whatever. We'd actually developed this for skills-based routing for a customer of ours in Switzerland. First problem they had was 4 languages in Switzerland. So, you know, it's automatically 4 queues. The second problem they had was they were getting a new product line with 600,000 new customers. So the old system they had just couldn't handle the volume, and they wanted to greatly simplify everything they had in terms of getting all the queues down to a minimum view, so to help the supervisors in controlling what's happening and getting an overview of what's happening in their queues with their wallboards and so on. So we developed all of that, particularly and specifically for them around their use case, and then pass it on to all the rest of our customers as well. So what we do in customer development, we pass on to you, which is a rather nice thing to have. And then moving on to all the other classic bits and pieces about, like, for example, what we can do with the Snom phones. If I go in here, we can see that I have, too quickly, a couple of phones assigned to me. I have a mobile app, I have a desktop soft phone, not desktop, I have a soft phone in my client, and I have the desktop phone here, which is on the desk, which is, you know, this one here. Okay, so I've got mobile, I've got this one, and it's just one license that I require to have all 3. So unlimited endpoints per user and things like that, which of course saves you a lot of money. Some solutions license per endpoint, which becomes, yeah, quite expensive in the modern day because modern day users have quite a few endpoints. So yeah, that's one thing that we can help you with on that front. We can also go and tie into the security side of stuff. If we wanted to, say, for example, allow a user to be able to control follow me settings, which makes sense for a mobile application, we give the user control. It could make sense for the desktop client with the soft phone. That could make a lot of sense. In this particular case, I've blocked it. I'm the admin of this system, I've blocked it. And then for the Snom desktop phone, always blocked. Okay? Why do we want to give them, when they're in the location for the office, they should always be using that phone. Best audio quality, easiest user feel, and so on and so on, particularly if they're in a contact center environment, like, for example, a sales team, desktop telephone, perhaps with a headset connected, is much more convenient because you have both your hands free and all this kind of stuff. You've got a headset and off you go. So that's that side of things. And then in terms of what we can also offer on the contact center side, now that we're talking about it, if I click on here, I have a filter for my contacts. At the moment, I've only got 3 contacts online. You can see I've got 2 users. So I've got Adrian, I've got Sally, but I've also got a sales team. And I can click in here and I can see who's there. And if I go onto calls waiting, if there were any calls coming, obviously not an active system, I can pick from there if I wanted to. Now, if I take another team, which I don't have right now, so I can add one, go into here, and let's say give myself support access. Go into the members, I find my user, and I say he's dynamic. So that gives me the ability to log in and out as and when required. So I'm not always there, I'm like the overflow. So there's a high call volume, somebody can send me a quick chat message and say, hi, James, log in, we need you right now on this particular bit. Let's have a look, see if it's live yet. Not yet, but it'll get there eventually.
I think that's a really cool, cool piece of functionality though, because contact centers, whilst you can do as much planning as you can to make it, to make the skills-based routing and everything work as seamlessly as possible. Being able to have people who can just jump out and jump into queues has always been a difficult task, and actually the pascom guys have made it a really simple task. So,
yeah, we have, and it sort of ties in. We took the whole team and location concept to a new level, when we said, okay, we have the extension is always with the user. So it doesn't matter where they are sitting. They could be sitting on top of a mountain and they could have a mobile app, or they could be sitting in their home office and have a Snom 785 like I'm hoping to have. Yeah, anyway, so this stuff is great. So I can change my location, I automatically take on the device, and I'm reachable. And because the extension hangs on the user, when somebody calls me on a queue, all I have to do is log in and out. And let's see if it's there now. I hope it is. No, it's not. Oh well. Next time. Anyway, right, so for that sort of stuff, dynamic users, maybe I can see it with another user here. Let's take Adrian, maybe he's got some dynamic stuff. No. I've got too many users going on. No, anyway, but if you want to see that in live, real-time action, give me a call and I'll show you on our productive system, because it definitely works there because I use it every day.
the challenge of live demos, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, moving on to bits and pieces that we also offer for admins, for example. If you are looking to integrate into your infrastructure, and you have, for example, LDAP server, we touched on it earlier with touching the button there on the telephone, for example, or Active Directory or Exchange, Office 365. We have connector templates for all of them, and in actual fact, with the release yesterday, 17.10, the performance of the Exchange connectors was greatly enhanced. There were some stability issues with LDAP, and we fixed that. So
that's good.
Yeah, that was rather an important one to fix. But yeah, you can also, if you've got, as a reseller, you're upgrading a customer from a very old pascom phone system, even it could be older, it could be a Moby Dick phone system, which is what our systems used to be called. You could take their phone book, and because the structure is the same, you can bring it into the new phone system, and the data isn't lost for the customer, which is relatively important. So things like that. And they're very simple and easy to use. I could set up an Active Directory user sync within 5 minutes. Obviously, I don't have an Active Directory here, but I just fill out the information, save it, and then I'm done. Yeah, I may want to modify our basic configurations to match the company that I'm putting into. So there could be, for example, specific filter sets or a structure that needs to be slightly modified, but we can do that all here. So we don't have to go adapting the Active Directory, we can do it here, we can pass our, match our connector to the infrastructure that's in play already.
No, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Right, in terms of what else we offer, I've mentioned, for example, mobile applications. You can see on table I have this phone here. I just quickly unlock the screen. This one is completely unpaired at the moment. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly pair him with a user. And I'm going to go to Adrian, because he just happens to be there. And he's got a mobile device which isn't paired right now. And for security purposes, I type in his password and I press next. It generates a QR code for me. And then on my phone, I press start and it will ask me for my QR code to scan. And then I have to put in a telephone number. So if I quickly go back to here, you can see I have to put in a telephone number. So I put in mine. So I'm almost there. It's loading up. And if I go here, quickly, come on network, get in. It's logging in anyway. It's taking its time, but it'll get there. Demo systems, oh well. But yeah, eventually it will get there. And the reason why we do QR code is it's a lot more secure, and because there's a lot of information. There's instance names, there's user names, there's peer names, passwords, and all that kind of stuff that's in there. So we have to keep that in play for as long as possible. And we refresh these QR codes every 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you can see the countdown on the screen.
If we go down here,
So,
you can see that it will refresh, and then after 5 minutes, we have to generate a new one. And I can allow end users to do this, or I can go directly into the user application here, and I can take, for example, Adrian. I give him on his assigned devices, he's got one there, make sure it's assigned, and I go into the device list, and then it's that one there, edit, click pair, and it will generate the QR code. So as the admin, if I'm running a choose your own device, for example, I can run this option. If I'm running a bring your own device, I can use the end user option. So everything there, all in one place. Nice and easy to use. All right, now that is well and truly way too much information. We've only got an hour's slot, so I'm going to open up the questions now and see what we've got. Okay, so got a question for Neil here. Any other options for free phones from signing up?
Any other options for free phones? What are you, animals? Well, I think the partner program is really a step in the right direction for us, because it's saying we want to engage more with you guys, we want to be more prevalent in your businesses. If you want free phones, come and talk to me, come and talk to James, talk to either of us, and we'll sort something out. As long as we can have a conversation and there's the opportunity to work together moving forwards, I will give you those free phones.
As long as there's a good argument there, for example, for you need it for demo purposes, you're going to a customer site or whatever, then we can of course arrange something.
No, I was just going to throw them out of the door, and no, James is very much correct. We do like there to be some business requirement behind it. I would imagine that there will be, but yeah, I think the key to the message there is reach out, talk to us. Tell us what it is that you do and why you want to evaluate the phones, and we'll more than happily send you those devices. Get you pascom testing as well to do. So yeah.
Cool. Another question coming in. How much does the 785 cost?
What a good question. The MSRP is, if I can remember correctly, which I probably can't, and it'll be in euros. I think it's about 265 euros MSRP.
Yeah, give or take, something around that. I remember from conversations we had on the stand at CeBIT last week, it was around that mark.
It's around that, so don't quote me, because that could be wrong. But but yeah, I mean, it's in that range, which is very cost effective for for the type of model it is.
Yeah. And relating to that, we've got the question goes on a little bit further, saying, what about pascom? How much does that cost? And yeah, it's a very good question, because right now, for the resellers that are already registered resellers that are online, they'll know about this, but for the end customers, they don't. With pascom 18, we're actually changing our licensing structure. We're moving away from what we currently have, which is the named user, so per actual user. So I'm one, Neil's one, and so on. And we're moving towards a concurrent user structure. And what that basically means is if somebody is currently actively using the solution, they will count or they will use a concurrent user license.
I think the best way I think to describe concurrency is in like shift work.
Yeah.
So say I finish work at 12 midday, James starts at 12:01. We're only one license because we never overlap.
And I do actually have in the presentation that I prepared for this, but we've gone on a little bit longer than I'd hoped.
Sorry.
It's all right, don't worry. A bit of a slideshow about it, so I'm going to just bring it up here. I do need to change. So here we are. No license being required is for inbound calls. There is none. As long as the inbound call starts from external, because of course if it starts internally, there's an outbound call somewhere. They don't count for a user license. That's a great advantage for the customer. All calls will always come in. You'll never hit a channel limit. You'll never hit a licensing problem. All calls will come in, and that's essential for customer services. And if I'm not using a desktop client, for example, I'm logged out, or I've got a desktop or a decked phone that's on standby, they don't count as a user license. When does a user license, or when is a user license required? When I'm making an outbound call from my desktop phone, from my mobile app, from my soft client. When I'm using the soft client, so I'm actually logged in, and I'm using the unified communications functionality, and the same with the mobile device. So at that point, I will be using a concurrent user license. But as one employee, I can have all three of them, and I use a maximum of one license. That's really important to understand. It's not 3 licenses or anything like that, it's 1, which we think is a major benefit over our competition. And we're really excited about that, and it's coming with pascom 18 on the 20th of September.
We will note it in the diary and have a little celebration when it happens.
Yeah, there will be a keynote on that day, so if you're interested, you can sign up and watch that one once the landing page is online. Good. But that doesn't really answer your question. The pricing. We have 2 different prices. We start with a standard bundle, which is basically just the software solution. And that is, for 4 concurrent user licenses, €200. If you want to have our premium support package on top, so you can call us, email us, use our support ticket system, whatever you want to do, then that costs €360 for 4 concurrent users. It goes up in packages 4, 8, 16, fairly self-explanatory. But more information, drop me an email, and I will, of course, be more than happy to oblige. Good. So any other questions coming in? Let's have a quick look. What was the release date of pascom 18? 20th of September. There we go. Good. Yeah. When are we next doing a webinar? Is another question.
Well,
we'll have to work that one out. We'll let you know.
To be fair, Snom have a few things in the pipeline.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we could do some more unboxing, some more product launches, and so on.
We could do some unboxing.
Yeah.
We'll do some launches.
Yeah. So I
think we've got things that are coming in the next few months, which we could definitely have a good play with. I'm sure with pascom 18 coming out.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was the date?
It's the 20th of September. Thank you, Neil.
Okay.
There's lots to talk about. There's lots going on. So right, but we've gone over the hour now. So I'm gonna say enough. And thank you very much for watching. Until next time, goodbye.
Thank you so much. Cheerio.